Hello everyone, and welcome back to the final part of my Halloween special. This week, we're diving into a series that might not be as popular as the others I've covered, but it's the perfect one to wrap things up. After exploring shows about the supernatural and the extraterrestrials, what better way to conclude than with a series that blends both but takes on an even darker tone? That series is Fringe. In this video, I'll be giving an overarching analysis of Fringe, a show with a dark sci-fi themes and parallel worlds that offers something unique compared to the other two series I've covered in this special. Before we dive in, make sure that you're subscribed and are up to date on all my latest content. And now, without further ado, let's explore Fringe. Chapter 1. The mysteries that comes from the patterns. There will always be a majority of people who are curious to see what will happen to the world if advances in science and technology broke the grounds of reality as we know it. What dangers will happen from these advancements? Would human lives be for the better? Or would there be a darkness that creates more chaos in the lives of the people living in such a reality? Series such as X-Files and Fringe explores these themes deeply, showcasing the darkness that lies within such advancements in a world that mirrors much of the world we live in. Most people in their world live harmoniously, oblivious to the notion of such ideals, still clinging to the idea that the world is a normal place. But others, especially the characters in the series, witnesses events that cannot be explained on a day-to-day basis. These events, although unnatural at their core, still have a glimmer of scientific explanation. Through characters like Walter and Peter Bishop explaining each step of the way, this creates a small bridge within the viewer's mind to relate in some small way to the Fringe cases that the series is exploring. These what-if narratives, covering each case with a sense of mystery, leaves behind a heavy impression on the viewers, and this strong impression, while rewatching the series, becomes something to focus on, knowing that you have missed it the first time, and getting a deeper understanding that certain Fringe cases that the team works on will serve to be a cog within a much bigger cog that the writers have been creating. Witnessing these events unfold and seeing the dangerous consequences when it comes to the dangers of such advancements in an unnatural manner, showcasing the horrors it creates and introducing terrifying and unimaginable creatures to weapons that inflict massive casualties, the series becomes a reminder and a lesson to not play God in the realms of science and technology, but to appreciate the fact that these terrifying Fringe-like cases do not occur in this world as well. Chapter 2. Complicated Relationships. The three main protagonists of the series, Walter, Peter, and Olivia, are connected deeply in a way that the series takes full advantage of. At the beginning of the narrative, the connection between these three characters is never explored, with the only exception being that Walter is Peter's father. But with that lack of information regarding these three characters' past when it started, the series manages to create an interesting narrative that makes their connection with each other into a deeper and more meaningful relationship that makes us, as the audience, care and appreciate how they came to be. There are connections that only hinted at, with subtle revelations as the series goes on. The mysteries and suspense created in each reveal leaves behind a heavy imprint for the viewers on the histories that they may or may not have shared. As the three characters slowly start to uncover that their connection is much more meaningful and deeper than they had thought, this also highlights how complicated and messed up these characters' pasts were. From the revelation that Olivia was in fact one of Walter's cortexophan test subjects when she was just a little girl, to the fact that Olivia and Peter had already met when they were just little kids, when she was at the school that the cortexophan trials were taking place, to the most twisted decision that Walter had made of kidnapping Peter from an alternate reality to replace the son he had lost, meaning that the history Peter and Walter had shared and discussed might be a false mirage, while at the same time causing a major conflict between these two realities for the futures to come. The complexities of their relationship are marked by a painful reminder that such complexities can always lead to unexpected consequences. Chapter 3. Telling a non-linear narrative. When there are two universes at play within the narrative, it can be tricky to balance telling a story that features both universes in both a positive and a negative light. Ever since the concept of doppelgangers in the alternate universe was introduced during the second season, the viewers have been made to believe that they are the antagonists trying to destroy the universe that they have been following since season 1. However, as the series continues, instead of telling a narrative bound in linearity only to ensure that the main universe was always portrayed to be on the side of good, The narrative breaks, telling a story of the day-to-day lives in both universes to highlight the positive elements of the characters that the viewers once thought were antagonists. With minor differences instead of major ones when it came to distinguishing the two universes apart, such as showing how the Statue of Liberty in the alternate universe still has the bronze coppery look, highlighting how it still has not aged into the blue that we see in the main universe, to the differences in technology advancements and character personalities becomes just enough to showcase the two worlds apart that if you look through a simple lens are not that different at all. Over the course of the series, each universe has its own interesting fringe cases, becoming an integral way to showcase the differences in personality and work ethics, depending on which doppelgangers the viewers are following, becoming one of the main ways to tell the overarching narrative of these two worlds colliding. And when the characters meet their counterpart, it becomes the most interesting character analysis regarding where these two characters' paths might have differed. Chapter 4. Unafraid of rebooting the series in the middle of its run. Rebooting the narrative in the middle of the series can be one of the riskiest things a series can do. The entirety of the narrative that the series once explored now ceases to exist, with only the core components that had shaped the narrative being kept as they are now in a new story to continue. Yet Fringe manages to pull off the impossible by rebooting the series in its 4th season, creating a fresh narrative to tell in a universe where Peter had died during the events at the lake house. The major changes relies on the fact that Peter is now erased from the narrative, creating a new paradox timeline in which the fringe cases that the first 3 seasons had tackled have now ceased to be the same. Some cases can be assumed to have taken place while others have not. Right in the center of this new narrative explores Peter having to reintegrate himself into a world where no one knows who he is, and the new interactions that takes place over the course of the season propels the series into a new direction. With that fresh start, the series also brings up deceased characters and retell past stories from before in a new and interesting light. From the reimagination of the episode, The Transformation, during the new rebooted timeline, to the unconventional yet thrilling story of how David Robert Jones, the main antagonist of the first season, returns, with no one in the new timeline having experienced the terrors that he committed during the first season due to the reboot. He now poses an even more dangerous threat, with some other deceased characters backing his plan. The boldness of rebooting a series can be the downfall of many series. Still, in this case, the way it tackles the reboot makes it an intriguing mystery to follow in the overarching narrative. Chapter 5. The Mysteries of the Observers. The Observers have always played an interesting role within the entirety of the narrative. Their origins at first were left mysterious, and when it came to their intentions, that had always been one of the core mysteries of the narrative. These beings had always appeared in the shadows of many episodes and even historical events, observing the narrative and creating the notion that we, the viewers, are not the only ones watching the events of the series. While in some cases, one can argue that the observers have had a positive impact on certain fringe cases, their mysterious nature had always put them at odds with the overarching agenda of the fringe team. However, their shred of mystery was no longer during the 5th season. The viewers witnesses the full might of their intellect and the dangers they can pose, enslaving the human race by returning from the original timeline and seizing control of humanity. This caused a mass extinction event, creating a law and order that can only be seen as a police state. With the observers now showing their fullest potential, using their cybernetic advancements, the fight against the observers becomes one of the most important events in the series. Knowing that these creatures during their introduction were just merely beings who were sent out to observe important events across the time stream, they now take an authoritarian approach in creating a world that had ruined the lives of many humans. This action becomes a testament to danger and horror, knowing that what was once thought to have been a passive creature can turn out to be so dangerous and terrifying at the same time. Chapter 6. The Ending. The final fight against the observers takes the Fringe team to use everything they have learned over their careers investigating the patterns. From using the case files against the observers by unleashing chaos, to traveling to the alternate universe to seek assistance from their allies to fight against the observers, brings together a season that had always felt separated from the previous seasons. Unafraid of risking their lives to ensure that the future they have experienced will be a forgotten memory, their plan to stop the observers leads to many unexpected discoveries for both the team and the viewers. This notion that everything they have investigated comes full circle becomes a huge message over their final fight, Everything that Walter has done in his lifetime, conducting many experiments, has led to this exact moment. As mysteries regarding moments from the previous seasons are answered, such as the origins of the observers and the meaning behind the empathic boy who had appeared during an episode of the first season, everything becomes connected into one final crucial mission. This mission also brings behind many mysteries about the events that will take place in the future of the series. With the observers now wiped from existence, meaning the events influenced by them in the first 4 seasons are non-existent, this leaves behind a difficult question when we witness our characters back in 2015, now in a timeline where the invasion by the observers never took place. It leaves us wondering how many events in their lives have changed now that Walter has sacrificed himself and altered time for good. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you have enjoyed the final part of this Halloween special. If you haven't seen Fringe yet, I hope this analysis has inspired you to check it out for yourself. Compared to the other 2 series within this special, Fringe masterfully blends science and the supernatural, creating a darker, more unique narrative. While the idea of parallel worlds has become more popular with today's multiverse trend, Fringe grounded this concept in a way few franchises or even TV shows have. As this year winds down, I've got a couple more videos in the work, so stay tuned for those. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like to this video, and share the video with your friends. Hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any future content. And I'll see you soon for another review episode.